Need for Speed just added the ability to turn off all the visual effects in Unbound, and it's honestly a big deal, but not specifically because you can turn those effects off. I'll explain. Let's go. Real quick before I get into the video, if you're looking for any of my Motorfest tunes or my Need for Speed Heat builds, I've moved everything to my website. It's militiagamingco.com. There's links in the main navigation menu for Need for Speed Heat builds and Motorfest Pro settings, so click those if you're looking for that. The link to the site is actually in the description of this video. All right, enjoy. The visual effects of the game were possibly the biggest reason people didn't play Need for Speed Unbound. It was a super polarizing design choice by Criterion, which I personally happen to love. I think it really adds to the overall experience when playing, particularly when using NOS, which is the most important mechanic when it comes to racing at a high level. Anyways, from day one, Criterion has always been very adamant that if they offered players a way to turn off the effects, not only would it greatly change that player's experience in the game, but it would remove the biggest design choice and sort of undo what they intended to do with the game, and honestly, they're right. When removed, the lack of animations and visual effects in the game does negatively affect the overall driving experience, the feel, and the intensity. But I've always been a person that's in favor of letting the players choose how they want to experience the game, and the option to remove the visual effects is exactly that. In the game that is so focused on customization and experiencing the game the way you like to, it does seem odd that they would lock the player into an experience simply because they felt it was better. Nonetheless, the ability to turn off visual effects is here. So what does it mean for this game and the franchise moving forward? To me, someone who actually likes Unbound for what it is, this change at face value means absolutely nothing. But what it says about Criterion's strategy moving forward gets me excited. Number one, even though this feels a little bit too little too late, it says that they are actually dedicated to improving the experience for players going forward. In fact, in the patch notes, the creative director John Stanley says you can expect to hear more from us in the new year. And there's a link to give feedback. He also says we're working in a slightly different way now, looking at improving Unbound by adding new features and enhancing the existing ones. Going forward, we want to try out some things with you all and see what you think. I don't think I've ever heard this type of tone coming from the Need for Speed camp. Usually it's radio silence for 18 months, here's a hype trailer, then nothing for another 6 months, and then a game release, and then radio silence again until 3 or 6 months goes by and they update the game. Unbound is officially a year old at this point, and they're still planning on updating the game further. I don't know about you, but I find this to be incredible news. There's something about the vibe of a Need for Speed game that just hasn't been reproduced in other franchises. Its customization is by far the best, and no other arcade racing game is providing that run from the cops experience. This is by far the smallest update to Need for Speed Unbound, and it is by far my favorite piece of news to report to you all. Anyways, the background gameplay that you've been watching is an example of removing those effects. There's no crazy tire smoke coming off the tires, the crazy wing animations are not there, and when you hit the burst NOS, you really don't even know except for the car goes a little bit faster. Now, if this is your sort of thing, maybe it's time to jump into the game, but if not, hey, let's look forward to what they plan on doing next year. I'm definitely excited to see what they have in store for us. Now, before I go, there are two other changes that they made with this update, and I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't report them to you. So the first is the ability to sort your rides in the All My Rides screen. Now, this is your garage, basically, not the store. It's a really nice quality of life feature that probably should have been in the game from the beginning, but it's here now, and before you used to be able to only sort things in the store and not your collection. This makes finding a car in your garage a little bit easier, and you can sort them by price, model name, rating, rarity, or manufacturer. Now, in addition to that, they've added a new feature called Open Playlists, which are just playlist invites that come from the server itself, not from other players. The good part about this is that it keeps things moving when there seems to be no action in the server, nobody's sending out race invites. The bad thing is, I think they missed the mark with this feature. Unfortunately, you still need 2 or more players in order to start a playlist. even when that playlist comes from the server itself. You still have to have 2 players accept the invite in order for a race to happen, as opposed to having AI racing and you being able to complete challenges and do things on your own in the multiplayer or online side of things for this game. Making this online experience dependent on other players is always a recipe for disaster, and this feature was an opportunity for them to sort of right a wrong, in my opinion, and they swung and missed. Luckily, they aren't done updating the game, which is honestly the best part of this entire mini update. I'd love for them to continue to build upon a single game as opposed to abandoning a game after 6 months and starting to work on a new one. Anyways, there is your Need for Speed update for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think of these things. Is it too little too late? Are you going to be going back to Unbound because there's visual effects, or have you never played Unbound but now you're considering it because you have the ability to turn off the visual effects? Let me know, please. I'd love to take the temperature of the community. All right. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Trigger out.